Crash Team Racing is a kart racing game released in 1999 for the PlayStation, featuring one of Sony's then mascots, Crash Bandicoot. It was their addition to the ever-growing popularity of kart racing games, and it was also one that I skipped. As a kid, I was limited to the games that my parents bought me, and Crash Team Racing wasn't one of those titles. Even in my adult years, I didn't think I'd ever see myself giving this a try since I had no personal attachment to it. However, this game was recommended to me by quite a few of you, and it also won my next game challenge poll on my community tab pretty significantly. CTR has a wide variety of playable characters throughout the game's franchise, with Polar and Pura having the worst stats in the game. So with all that said, let's see if you can beat Crash Team Racing using only Polar. For this challenge, I'll be playing through the entirety of Adventure Mode. The story begins peacefully with a sign stating that there are races happening that day, and a trophy given to the winner of each track. Soon, the main antagonist, Nitrous Oxide, appears to ruin the fun. He invades the planet and challenges us to a race since he claims to be the fastest in the galaxy. If we win, he'll leave peacefully, but if we lose, he'll turn the planet into a parking lot and enslave all of its inhabitants. Jeez, relax, guy. After all that's over with, we begin the game in the first area, Insanity Beach. Each area in the overworld has 4 tracks. In order to race Nitrous Oxide, we have to collect 16 trophies, which are won by getting in first place in each track. Wow, I'm already getting big Diddy Kong Racing vibes and influences from this game. I began my adventure by driving around the overworld a bit to get used to the controls. Then I went over to Crash Cove to enter my first race. It wasn't really all that bad. I fell behind a bit in the first lap, but maintained a sizable lead in the second and third laps. Okay, so this is like getting a star? Why would I get this in third place? This just seems so unfair now. I got flashbanged after getting first place and collected a gold trophy. Okay. Before you get the trophy, the game places you on a podium based off of what place you finished in if it's in the top 3. You also get greeted by the lovely Umbrella Girl. Ruse Tubes was the second track. It gave me Chicago vibes from another racing game I played not so long ago. Unlike that track, this race wasn't a complete blowout with the CPUs getting ahead of me. Between laps, there was a bit of weaving in and out of first through fourth place, but I managed to get first on my first try. It's been a while since I played a Crash game, and I got very confused by the gigantic flamethrower tank next to me. That's Dingo. Oh, that's Dingo Dial? Mystery Caves is the third track I entered. Crash stayed right behind me for nearly the entire race, but I didn't let him take this win away from me. Nice. Why is he still right behind me? All right, let's do this. Sewer Speedway was the last track I visited in Insanity Beach. This level also gave Chicago vibes from Mickey Speedway USA, with a little hint of Seattle. The first 2 laps I had a sizable lead in first. That was until I missed a jump which set me back a few places. I managed to catch up and it was neck and neck between me and Dr. Engine as we were nearing the finish line. That's what I'm talking about. After collecting all 4 trophies in an area, you unlock a boss race. Again, a very familiar concept. This area's boss is Ripperoo. Throughout the race, he continuously drops TNT boxes to try and slow you down. Why does he have so many? Excuse you. Oh, I sniped him. Let's go. This was fairly annoying, but after getting ahead of him, he wasn't able to catch up with me. If you lost this bad, I'd hate to see what happened if you ran for governor. After beating a boss, they'll give you a key which unlocks the next area in the hub world. Before I moved on, I went back to Crash Cove to see what the other challenges were. After beating a track, you can return to it and enter the CTR challenge or the Relic Race. The CTR challenge requires you to find all hidden letters that spell CTR and get first place to win a CTR token. The Relic Race requires you to beat a track within a certain amount of time frame to win a relic. I tried the CTR challenge just to see what it was, and I struggled badly to grab the letter T. Wait, what? How the f do you get up there? How the hell do you get up there? Okay, I am not ready for this.
Loser! You're a loser!
I decided to check back with that later and went to the next area, the Lost Ruins. The first race I went to was Coco Park. Everything was smooth sailing up to the final lap.
Pass it on.
F you. No. No! Yeah! That was so close.
Pass it on.
Tiger Temple is up next. Not too much to say here. I had a few close calls and Pyrrha was right on my tail. He exploded a bit before we crossed the finish line, which solidified my lead. After finishing this track, Aku Aku gave me a tip on how to properly boost when drifting. That's going to be a huge help moving forward. Papu's Pyramid is a track that definitely relied a fair bit on drifting. In the beginning, drifting took some getting used to. Thankfully, the game doesn't outright punish you for hitting a wall or obstacle, and you can get your momentum back fairly quickly. I was trailing behind in third place on the final lap, Put an Aku Aku power-up, launched me into first place. This power-up has no business being so good for so long. The fourth track in this area is Dingo Canyon. It reminded me a lot of a Roadrunner cartoon. The first lap, I was struggling to get ahead, but once again, the Aku Aku power-up came in clutch and helped me get first place. I swear, this is so broken.
It's not fair. It's not fair.
Papu Papu challenged me to a race for another key and took me back to his pyramid. He was kicking my butt for the majority of the race. Yeah, the drifting is definitely gonna take some. Ooh! Okay, there's no way I'm winning this now. Potion seller over here. Is there a place that doesn't have a potion on it? But somehow, it only took one homing missile to set him back on the third lap. The first try, first place streak continues. Now, knowing how silly I can be at times, I went over to the giant computer and saved my progress. Then, I headed over to Glacial Park and onto the first track, Blizzard Bluff. This is where I got my first taste of ice hazards. They're very slippery and tough to drive on. I got crushed by a boulder in the third lap and almost lost my win streak to Coco, but she was no match for the almighty Polar.
Coming through.
Same. That's how we do. We don't get second place in this game. We don't get third place in this game. We get first, baby. First place. Nothing but. In Dragon Mines, I had a rougher experience. I kept hitting walls and got flattened by one of the mine carts. Then, when trying to drift on this bridge, I ended up falling off the edge and that set me back. No, please! Oh, please! I was able to catch up to Crash and Dingodile on lap 3, and they both got flattened by a minecart just like I did earlier. Another first place finish in the books. Polar Pass would be the first track to humble me. There's plenty of hazards here to keep you on your toes. I had 2 bad jumps that put me out of bounds, and right at the very end, I felt like I might be able to make a comeback. There's no time. Dog, get away from me. Yeah, I completely f***ed that up. I got third place and experienced my first loss of this run. Not great, but not too bad overall. My second time around, I was doing all right.
You'll never catch me, Krabs. Not when I shift into maximum overdrive. Yeah!
Then I underestimated a jump and went out of bounds.
No!
This landed me in fourth place. On my third attempt, I was back and forth with Crash for first. Right towards the very end, he strategically plants a green potion right in front of me, causing me to crash into a wall and losing the race.
Bruh, are you serious right now? Are you kidding me? No!
The fourth time, I had finally learned from all my mistakes and took things a bit easier. I maintained a fairly big gap in the last lap and finished in first. This game really put me to work for this one. Plagiarism Arena was the next track. It literally looks like they took Wario Stadium from Mario Kart 64 and changed it up ever so slightly. But it's like what they say, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. This track is so long. Each lap almost took me a minute and a half to get through. Once again, I was nearing the finish line when a bomb came out of nowhere and took me out of the race.
Dude, are you kidding me? What the hell? Oh my god, dude.
Sometimes the CPUs in these kart racing games really know how to push your buttons. But I made it through my second time around with no problems. Komodo Joe was the next boss. He drops TNT and nitro boxes behind him throughout the race. This was a bit annoying to maneuver around, but after landing a hit on him with a homing missile, he just couldn't seem to catch up to me. Easy win, easy life. Citadel City is the last area I had to complete before I could challenge Nitrous Oxide. The first track I went to was Engine Labs. This is another map that relied on good turning to avoid falling out of bounds. Unfortunately for me, I didn't get the memo.
Bruh.
I'm starting to notice a pattern here with me losing right before the race is over, though it only took one more try. Up next was Cortex Castle, a pretty cool track, but I have to say I was expecting the music to be a bit more sinister sounding. I got into yet another close call in the final lap between me and Dr. Neo Cortex. We both ended up hitting these spider hazards, and somehow he still managed to get first. No! That was really bad. Second time's the charm again. Hot Air Skyway was my kart racing nightmare. Drifting in this game is fine, but when you're reliant on the boost that you get from it, and you have to avoid falling out of the map at any given turn, it's a recipe for disaster for me. Naturally, I fell off the map and reset. Then, I fell off the map again on my next try. Oh my god, no! Alright. On my third try, I was getting close to the finish line, but the CPUs caught wind of this yet again and sniped me with a bomb, taking me back to second. Dog, no way. I returned the favor to Tiny with a fresh homemade pie from the bomb factory and got first place. Oxide Station is the last track in the game, and I was almost done and ready to take on the final boss. Again, I couldn't help but notice the potential future Funland influences on this track. I got first place on my first try in what seemed to be a very anticlimactic race for the area's last track. But before I could challenge Nitrous Oxide, I had to defeat Pinstripe Poturu? Is that how you say that? His full name is actually Pinstripelli Potorodi, which I think sounds way cooler. He also carries a huge Tommy gun on his person. My man is packing heat. In a missed opportunity, Pinstripe doesn't shoot at you for smooching with his brother. Instead, he drops bombs behind him to try and slow you down. If you get any sort of lead on him though, he's completely harmless. Nitrous Oxide finally acknowledged that I was the best around and nothing was ever gonna keep me down. Except maybe the loads of crap he throws at you during his race. Oh my god. Bro. Look at all this crap! So much. He's not even that fast, but a few hits from a potion or an explosive box will put you out of commission and you'll have to try again. Canonically, I lost this race on my first try, dooming the planet to a life of enslavement and torment from Nitrous Oxide. The game must have felt bad for me, because it let me take a second crack at it, and I won, which forced him to leave the planet for good. Or so I thought. Of course it was too easy. You can never just beat the final boss and be done with the game. Nitrous Oxide tells us that we have to collect all of his time relics and challenge him again. As I mentioned earlier, each track has 2 more challenges to complete after you beat the trophy race. So I'd have to go back to each track and play through them again 2 more times each. Wonderful. I tried to go back to Insanity Beach, but I got a bit lost in the map and opted to try out the relic race in Coco Park first. In a relic race, you have to beat the track within a certain amount of time. The time to beat is usually fairly low, so to keep your timer from moving, you can run into boxes that will freeze your timer for 1, 2, or 3 seconds. Completing a track under the Sapphire time will give you a relic. For whatever reason inside my peanut brain, I didn't do the CTR challenge in Coco Park and instead moved to Papu's Pyramid for another relic race. My first time around, I fell off the track and had to reset, but I got the relic shortly after. Afterwards, I finally made my way back to the beginning and tried my hand at the CTR challenge in Crash Cove. You're supposed to find the letters that spell out CTR throughout the track and finish in first. C and R were easy to collect, but I could not get to the T that was seemingly just out of reach. I messed around for almost 7 minutes in one run through, just trying different ways to collect the T. With the help of my chat, I finally got up to the T by using an Aku Aku power-up and jumping from a hill in the water that boosted me to where the T was. I collected my well-earned token, then went back and got the relic after some more trial and error. With Crash Cove completed, I moved over to Skull Rock thinking it was a race that I must have missed, but it was actually something brand new. This is a battle arena, where you have to collect 20 crystals scattered throughout the map within a certain time limit. It took a few tries to get used to this, but it wasn't too hard overall. I finished with 8 seconds to spare and got another Crash token. To save on being too repetitive, I got both the Crash tokens and relics from Ruse Tubes and Sewer Speedway. It was starting to get pretty late, so I decided to call it a night from there and continued on the next day. Don't worry though, I may be stupid, but I'm not dumb, and I made sure to save my game. Picking up where I left off the next day, I finished out the Insanity Beach area by getting the CTR token and relic from Mystery Caves. From there, I moved on to Glacial Park and tried my hand at the Rocky Road Battle Arena. This one was a complete night and day difference from Skull Rock. This time, there were nitro boxes everywhere around the map and near the crystals. This proved to be far more challenging. This track is... Alright, I have an idea. Crazy enough to work. To grab all the ones up here first. Okay, or maybe we don't. There's still time. There's still time. Oh my god, no! Eventually, I made it through and collected my token. The rest of this area's token challenges and relic races were pretty easy, except for Tiny's arena. I jumped too high. Oh my god, come on, dude. That is not cool. Who did that? Oh no. This is... Oh my god! Dude, no! Please. Please! Oh! Yes! on to the Lost Ruins. I started at Rampage Ruins to take on another battle arena. This was a large map with a lot less hazards in the way. It's not very difficult though, certainly nowhere near as hard as Rocky Road was. I collected the rest of the tokens and relics in this area, but ran into some issues trying to collect the Iron Tiger Temple. The game makes you think you can collect it from hitting a high enough jump, but it was always just barely out of reach. Who knows, maybe some characters can collect it that way. What you're actually supposed to do is unlock a shortcut in the track that will lead you directly to it. I'm not fully certain what activates the shortcut, but I only really needed it to collect this letter, so I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. Back to the final area, Citadel City. I lined my pockets with this area's tokens and relics, and actually got a gold relic in Oxide Station, so that was pretty neat. The battle arena here is Nitro Court. This map is a bit of a maze to navigate through, with Nitro and TNT boxes being placed around some of the crystals. I'm pretty sure the game wanted me to use items to blow up the boxes, but I just rammed into them instead. Now that I had all the tokens, I could move on to the gem races. It was about time I could do something new. Going through each track twice to collect relics and tokens was starting to get really old really fast. Let's see what I have to do to get these gems. Oh, would you look at that? I have to go through every single track again. This really is a minor complaint, but it was getting so repetitive at this point. Crash Team Racing is really lucky it's fun to play. Of course, to get the gems, you have to finish first in a Grand Prix style race. Nothing I'm not already used to. One thing I did like is that after collecting that damn 4th Chaos Emerald, the Purple Gem Grand Prix puts me up against all the bosses I faced, minus Nitrous Oxide. With all the Chaos Gems in tow, there was still one more thing I had to do before I could race against Nitrous Oxide. In the hub world, there are 2 bonus tracks with relic races to complete, Slide Coliseum and Turbo Track. Not mentioned up to this point, but I had already finished Slide Coliseum and got that relic. So I entered Turbo Track and finished the race with enough time to get a gold relic. Now that I had collected every item in Adventure Mode, Nitrous Oxide beckoned me over to challenge him again and quote, "Teach me a lesson in speed." Yeah, I beat him on my first try. Much like WizPig 2, the second time racing against Nitrous Oxide was so easy. As long as you maintain a lead against him, you'll avoid all of his hazards and win with no problems. With Nitrous Oxide defeated and running away with his tail between his legs, I proved that you can beat Crash Team Racing using only Polar. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, or comment. It helps out the channel a lot. I have to say this game was a breath of fresh air. Crash Team Racing is well polished, and no race ever truly felt like the CPUs were cheating or personally out to get you. This was all a test of raw skill, and I had so much fun with it. In case you didn't know, I stream all of my challenge runs live on my Twitch channel, so if you'd like to check that out, I'll leave a link in the description. Thanks again for watching, everyone. See you next time.